Tuesday, October 14th. Did you have a chance to review those?
I read them, I forgot to print them off, but I read them in cat letters. It seemed like, I mean, I think everything, I didn't read clear through the resolution, I assumed it was.
Yeah, that resolution takes up, part of page 1. Page 2.
I didn't see that at all, Mr. Chairman. So I'm going to accept minutes.
Second
Motion. Motion and a second to accept minutes for Tuesday, October 14th. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, 3-0. And committee reports.
Yeah, I had a Multnomah County Health Department meeting last night in Jackson County. The new CEO is working out extremely well. Our revenues and profit is looking good, which kind of justifies why we didn't need to appropriate more money for them this year. We're going to be meeting quarterly now, so every month. So, all in all, I just got through with Ebola virus training.
Oh, yeah.
So they're somewhat prepared. That's about all I have. I assume you're going to attend the House of Hazardous.
Yeah, I believe Pat, myself, and Chase are attending. So,
I talked with Don County, they will have two representatives there as well.
good.
And I talked to Warren Plager, and he will be there. He will be the commissioner for Brown County. That'll be there. They've already officially pulled out, but he said they would be there to support if we were going to disband. So. I can't attend because we have a meeting next Tuesday. NEKES is having a special meeting, and they wouldn't change it on my behalf, so I guess I will be attending because they're going to have it on Tuesday. Their office manager quit, took another job, and so they'll be trying to replace her. And actually finished the meeting that we had about 3 weeks ago. We finished the meeting that they didn't get done that day. So.
Did we want to reschedule with West because I think next Tuesday is going to be RCIC?
Why? I don't have to, I'm not going to the meeting. That NEKS meeting.
Oh, you're not?
No, I'm not going.
So you will be here?
Yeah, I'm going to be here.
Oh, I thought you said you wouldn't be here.
No, I told them, I said that was our only meeting day, and she didn't seem like she wanted to change it, so I said, yeah, that's fine.
That is at 9 o'clock, actually.
Yes, 9 o'clock.
Good. So Matt's here.
Got one purchase order for $715.02 for assorted road signs.
Assorted road sign.
And our Volvo grader, the new engine is in it, just ready to be picked up, so we'll be going down tomorrow, next day, and get it back home.
I guess maybe I should have, the minutes said, is it a 3-year, 5,000 hour, or is it 5-year, 3,000?
3-year, 5,000.
5,000, okay, that was correct, okay. Make sure I got that clear.
National sign.
Did you report on this? There's that.
Oh, yeah, we met Matt met us, this morning at Irish Road Safety Grant, project on 262nd Road. Those 3 intersections, but there's still been some concern, you know, by, residents in the area as far as the, turning radius, lanes, and overall project. It appears that, everything's not quite laid out yet, but it sounds like they're making some pretty good progress. The LEVCO, the Level Construction Company, is making some pretty good progress.
Yep. I think they have, tentative plans to lay asphalt next Monday, so they should be on schedule or possibly ahead of schedule. So,
Okay. I know next, or this coming year, you're looking at high-risk roads, safety grant 286, so we should definitely probably be more in tune on what's going on or something like that, you know, just after seeing how some of the stuff's been laid out with PG Consultants, I just had some concerns with it. So, that's nothing I can say about that. I don't have a problem doing the grants, I just wanna make sure we know what we're going into.
alright. Good afternoon.
You too, thank you.
Keep bringing the good weather. Keep bringing the good weather because
That's what we need, so.
it's conducive to you guys' work and it's conducive to our work outside the commission.
Alright.
Mr. Chairman, we need to sign off on the budget, Tony needs to file these with the Extension Council, the courts, and Extension Council, and courts, and Conservation. I would move that we would authorize the chairman to sign all three so that she can submit those.
Motion is second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, 3-0.
She can fill in nothing else I shared with her. Pat, I emailed Dennis Foster, you know, we discussed a couple meetings ago. That's not right.
That's not right.
136. She's incorrect.
Okay.
He hasn't responded. Do you happen to have his telephone number?
I met with him yesterday,
Oh, okay.
but did you have something, we talked about the, some changes that he would like to see to.
Right, and I suggested he come down and go over those. I've got the book here and other recommendations, and a couple of them didn't make a lot of sense to me, and I thought maybe he could clarify them to us.
I didn't bring mine with me, but I can sure explain them.
So you guys went over them?
Yeah,
Some of them are just modifications.
and one of the things that he suggested a change to was a lot of the counties have a third section dealing with wells. And we have no oversight of private wells or semi-public wells. And he explained the semi-public well is one that services less, is it 10 or fewer people, or 10 or fewer households, I'm not sure, but, he didn't think we had a lot of those anyway, wells that were shared by multiple families. Let's see, one of the changes was simply, we don't have the code officer anymore, I mean, the agency, I guess, was listed as Multnomah County Board of Health, and wanted to change that to Northeast Kansas Environmental Services, which seemed reasonable. The others were, maybe a little more esoteric. The code, he thought that it didn't exactly forbid violations, or didn't have a very strong penalty provision, or maybe even explicit penalty provision. And then really the big one was, there were two big ones, and one is to, whether you wanted to have any sort of inspection requirement on sale of a residence. He noted that a lot of times at first blush, people look at that and think that's a money grab by the agency. He said if that's the concern, those inspections could be done by the installers as well. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be them. That would probably give quite a bit of competition in the marketplace, because you might have people willing to do it for a little cheaper. And then, as I said, whether we wanted to have any sort of regulation in the wells. Those are the types of things that, for the most part, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but then if somebody catches cholera, I don't know if they catch from a contaminated well, but if they catch that, then that's probably something that could have been prevented through some sort of inspection program. So, guidance?
What's your recommendation on some of those things? Most are additional minor payment things, but you did mention a couple of things that you're now treading into a little bit different area in terms of requiring, inspections. And, I know that was listed, I think, on a couple of other counties too. Their concern was that, they thought that was the new buyer, that's just something that between the real estate agent and the old buyer and seller, they decipher that out, but that should be their liability. Under your zone, you'd be in a different situation, because it would probably be a requirement.
Well, it might be, but really all of the building codes and fire codes and housing codes can be taken care of by contract if people were smart enough to know the issues and attentive enough to pay attention to details. Building codes come up, the only time I ever hear anything about it in the county is when somebody talks to me because they build a house in the county somewhere and there's only one electrical outlet in the whole kitchen or something like that. And it's happened before. It definitely has happened before that the floors aren't anywhere close to level or something like that. And the builder just says, well, gosh, there's no specification in our contract how many to put in there. I'll put more in, but I want this much money to put in. And those would be fixed with building codes, but on the other hand, then you might prohibit people from building their own homes, especially people trying to do that on budget. So I don't know that I can make that determination for you. I know that almost all of these things could be taken care of by consumers if they understood the issue and had the foresight to contract for it. But my experience is that very few houses that have been sold go through a rigorous inspection process. I'm aware of situations where people have bought homes and discovered that they were on septic systems when they thought they were on sewers, or that they were on failing septic systems. It worked fine when there was nobody living there, or one person living there, but it didn't work if you had a family of 6 that was living in the house or something like that. But
Roger Denton had asked me one time if we were subject to some IBC codes, in absence of any type of code adoption. I thought it was like a fairly recent.
As in there, he thinks there's some, state or federal law?
Yeah, but you might talk with them, and they, if I remember what he said, it sounded like they were pretty stringent. So like if you didn't adopt, there's different versions, I believe, some of the IBC codes.
Well, there are a lot. In fact, I think the city of Atchison has adopted the, 2003 is the most recent one that they've become.
There's newer versions than that.
I think they become new every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But there's costly compliance with all of those.
Oh, yeah.
We had also, another thing Dennis and I talked about was changing the inspection requirements to allow, because if you've got the contractors who know what they're doing, they have to be approved and licensed to do it, that instead of making them wait until the inspector can get out there, if they can just document photographically what's there, that they can look at the photograph and say it was correct. So, my impression was that he was really trying to be proactive about making things better and easier, not, I didn't get the impression that he was trying to increase revenue to the agency.
No, he's pretty talking about that. I mean, I think his main concern is to make sure things are safe as possible, whether they do the inspection, like you said. I mean, private agencies or somebody else can do the inspections. It's not as if he's out looking for anything else, because he only works so many hours a week anyway, so his time is a little bit limited. And the Jefferson County guy who does quite a bit of Jackson County, a little bit in Atchison County, well, he's gonna be running around town too, so. I don't think he's trying to get it. I think he's just trying to protect us more than anything else.
I can prepare whatever you want.
Is this for wells or what?
Well, with the changes, changes to the current code, we just met yesterday, so I didn't really have a lot of time to do it. I can put those together and maybe give a better explanation of what each change is for you for the next meeting. And then maybe a draft of what the other 2 regulations would look like, so you could
Think it over a little bit, yeah. I think that sounds good to me.
Did he give any update on nuisance?
Yes, we did set a day, I don't know what it was, but we're sending out a letter to basically everybody. We sent letters to tell them this would be a day if you want to meet with us to discuss if you're in compliance or being in compliance, and then file thereafter. It's, we're giving about 3 to 4 week lead time on it. My iPad won't probably, I can tell you the day.
Does it seem like it's really dragging out? I mean, extra long? I mean, or are we just not getting responses from him, or?
Well,
Since this has been going on for 6+ months.
some of it has been, there have been some compliance too. There have been some that have ignored it, but there has been some compliance, particularly on 59. And of course, there's been one place that's gotten a lot worse on 59. But, some of it has gotten better. I was noticing when we drove back, that there was one property out in the country that actually I thought was better than what it had been when you guys drove back that way. In fact, I'm probably in compliance. But, they're, I don't know how to say this really, they're difficult cases because after you get to filing the prosecution side, they start over with the judge saying, all right, I'll give you 60 days to get it fixed, or 90 days to get it fixed. I mean, they're just inherently slow because at each step, you have to educate the next person involved as to what's already gone on in the past in terms of trying to secure compliance. So, did you want his phone number?
No, not
I
necessarily.
could send you the cell.
No, I just had not heard a confirmation back from him because I just recommended he come down and explain to the other two commissioners more details on it, but, you know, you've got a handle on it, so I recommend you keep what you said, you know, just go ahead. Write up those recommendations, you know, what you recommend for changes, and we can review it and act on it. Either next meeting or even the first meeting, we'll make this good.
Okay.
Well, go ahead and tentatively put that for next meeting, updating the sanitation codes following. And if we don't get to it, we can move to the next one.
We got Chase here.
Well,
Blue today, aren't you?
standard, but kind of fitting today. Pardon? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure everybody's been brought up to speed on the situation. I know that.
Yeah, you talking about the sale, I mean, which one you talking about?
Well, let's start with the position that was put in the paper, put in, on the website to be hired. Originally, we had approved it for a full-time position with benefits, and then there was some questions as to whether or not we could, I mean, if there was funds available to do it either in the 2015 budget as is, or if it was something that we would have to use sales tax revenues that were left over and carry that over into covering the costs. And one thing that you guys did do before we approved the final budget was to build in some additional space for either part-time help or seasonal help in the salaries, and then we did discuss building in a little cushion in the employee benefits. And so essentially what we're doing by Bill leaving is just filling a part-time position plus essentially 2 more days, 60 more hours, which I believe we have enough space for in the budget now. And by adding somebody, we don't run quite the risk of having to go into overtime. I mean, you can't predict when you would need overtime, but that is something that we could address when we got there. But the 2015 budget as is can accommodate a full-time position, and with the new permit that we have to adhere to, that we, with the construction, demolition, and landfill, that is going to be a considerable amount of work to get it up to code so that we can, perform in accord with our C&D permit. So, and in addition to that, there's plenty of other stuff that we need to do at the transfer station. I mean, we still have that 6 acres of stuff to cover, the work down C&D that still needs to be done. I mean, it's not as though, and winter's probably not the best time to bring somebody on because we do see a decrease in tonnage and we do see a decrease in traffic volume, but I did get in touch with Nick Day, one of the 2 that we had let go on December of last year, and he said that he is interested in coming back, and that, from my perspective, that would be the simplest solution, is just rehire somebody that we had already hired, that already knows all the equipment, we'll bring them up to date on all the procedures, but that's just somebody that we have relied on in the past, and we didn't fire them for poor job performance, we let them go as part of our...
But since you post the job, you probably still need to go through interviews.
Process, yeah, saying that, just as I got thinking more about it, though, we're getting right back to where we're going. We work so hard to make the thing more efficient and compared to other counties. I mean, we're gonna be back to about 5 full-time people. And that's only one less than what we had before. And, it does concern me a little bit that, as you even delve into that, that's gonna take more sales tax money, which, leaves less for even the county to use in other things too. So, because then we'll have to divvy out more of our share to offset, and, I think you're gonna have to explain it to your committee too, why you're gonna be a full-time person rather than a part-time person. So, I mean, the solid waste committee, report to them, you're gonna have to answer that. And I think you need to check out on the benefits. We got an HR person there, but it depends on who that guy, who comes back in, whether there is enough in-the-line benefits to cover, depending on whether they come in as an individual, they come in as an employee spouse, or they come in as a family. There's quite a bit of difference between those.
And I understand that there is a significant difference, and while we did build a little bit extra into the employee benefits, it's definitely not gonna be enough to cover taking on another full-time position. If I'm authorized to hire somebody, I would definitely prefer to hire the former employee and just essentially be a rehire, and that would be a single, benefits package, or an individual, benefits package. I do get that we are kind of inching back, but essentially we're just adding one part-time position onto our current staffing.
You're at the benefit too.
Well,
The benefit is almost half of what salary is, so you've added 2/3 of the position.
But we did accommodate for that in this year's budget, not
That doesn't
entirely,
mean we
but,
have to use it.
well,
The intent, I think, of that extra is during the summer, when the volume, is to get some college help. It's like what we authorize Matt to do, is to get some help when they do chip and seal. I mean, a guy, they can hold the flag, it's just well as $15 or $16 an hour a person, and it's just part-time help. And I think that was, we built that, part-time stuff in there, that's what I think kind of the intent was. Then that's gonna be ate up. I mean, I know we kind of authorize you to advertise that, and, I still think that if you need to be asking these people whether they'd be interested in part-time, because I just think that we're pushing a little bit too far. That's just my opinion.
well, all of the things that we built into the budget, that was prior to our engineering firm getting approval for the new C&D permit and the new work that we have to do on it, both in bringing the entire landfill up to code with retention berms and diversion berms and clearing stuff out, and we have to regrade our fill, and it is gonna be an incredibly labor-intensive work that we have to finish relatively soon to be in compliance with our
What do
new
you think
permit.
about relatively soon, how long you have?
They said about the 6-month mark of next year, so about June. Now, obviously, that if we get record snowfall, or if we get constant inclement weather, then they'll work with us, but we do have to be in compliance. And, I mean, that is, for me personally, or for my department, that is a major concern, because we really can't afford to not be in compliance with that permit and have to do final fill and then find essentially about $200,000 to build a new C&D, or just not accept C&D anymore and have it go elsewhere, which is all very detrimental to.
You've got some short-term justification, I can see that. Once you get past that, then what do you do?
Well, then we stay current, because we have, as of right now, and I've mentioned this, we were a daily cover C&D landfill, which would have required the staffing that we had previous to this year. We, as part of this permit, had applied so that we can be the normal 120 or 1,000 or 2,000 ton cover requirement, which means we don't have to cover the C&D as often as we did
understand.
And so that made it work with our current personnel. But our current personnel, we are 6 acres behind. I mean, we still within that 100-day, I mean, we're still in compliance, but we are getting further and further and further behind on maintaining that. And to try and catch up to that during the winter, which is going to be fairly tough in and of itself. But then in addition to that, getting our facility up to code for all the other requirements. Yes, that is a one-year deal, but then there's also the maintenance of that. And that will take almost a full-time position because we're no longer just going to be dumping here and there and then compiling and flattening it out. It's going to have to follow a very specific you fill it cell by cell, and it has to be graded, and it has to fit our new, much more specific plan. So when you do that, you get one operator there, and then that leaves us with 2 operators and myself, and then Stacy at the scale house. We do need to build in some flexibility to run both transfer stations on the 2 days. And then also, right now, if somebody were to get, 2 people were to get sick, we would not be able to keep one of them open on Saturday. And we've been very fortunate thus far, but we are kind of getting into that cold season where and I know that's not the end-all be-all justification, but it's just a whole list of little things that would be alleviated if we did just hire this extra 12 to 16 hours, which would incur benefits as well. But I can see now, can I see 2 or 3 years down the road what we're going to be required to do with house hazardous waste, with recycling, with that, all these other things? No, but for right now, I can, for the upcoming year, 2 years, there is a justification for that additional personnel. I mean, it's not as though we're going back to what is often being commented as I forget what they call it, where we were overstaffed, that you would constantly see 2 people sitting around doing nothing at the transfer station. But we are running a little thin, and it would be alleviated. We essentially killed 2 birds with 1 stone by hiring a full-time instead of a part-time and then a seasonal help. So, and if it needs to be revisited in 18 months, if we continue to see our annual tonnage continue to drop as it has from even the past 2 years, then we can relook at it, then we can,
What do you have to wait 18 months? Because if you have your, by June next year, you have your, meet your permit requirements. Then we ought to know by then, and I'm just saying, as we go into the budget year, I don't think it would be time to revisit it.
yeah, we definitely could. I would.
I mean, there's, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, why we, 18 months, you justified somewhat the idea of needing extra help just to get a compliance. Past that point, we don't know. Maybe you'll have justification by then, maybe not. I'm just saying, I'd hate to throw out the word 18 months, because that takes you into 2 more budgets, so.
Yeah, that would. So, I mean, at least to get us through this
Indirectly,
year.
I'll just tell you, it does affect the county budget, because this is the first year that, because of the efficiencies that we've done at the landfill, that the county has been able to share a little bit of the extra sales tax money that's generated. And as we proceed, we're not exactly for sure. Your sales tax money is not always 100% one year to another, what kind of revenue you've got. And if the joint communications upgrade of the radio takes place, there's not much doubt that there's probably going to be more contributions asked from the cities and the county to meet the payments on that. So you couple that with the fact that more sales tax money not going to solid waste to justify 1 full position, we're almost going to be back to the point where the county has no access to the sales tax money, which right now alleviates, it saves us about 2 mils.
Are we assuming that we're not taking into consideration what we're gonna carry over our year-end balance for the solid waste department? Is that factoring anywhere into the discussion, or is that an assumption that we have already made?
No, but your carryover balance may be good this year, but it won't be next year.
Well, and we'll be much more in tune. We'll eventually get to the point, like I've mentioned before, where we've seen drastic cuts, and then finally we get to a settling point where maybe it's plus or minus 5% of the budget, not you cut 15% and then 20% the next year.
At some point in time, you're gonna have to upgrade some equipment,
And then,
and that's gonna take, take some, you gotta take that into account in your budget. Realize you sold that dirt scraper, and I think that money can revolve in there, but at the same token, backhoe isn't cheap, and you never know if a dozer or something goes down. I assume you don't have a dozer, we have,
we have a track order.
track loader, yeah. No, those things aren't cheap.
No, they're not.
I mean, we just put $34,000 motor in the road here.
And
That was, only had 3,000 hours, over 3,000 hours.
And we're still trying to figure out what is the most pressing and what can we put away in increments in our capital outlay and eventually replace the front loader, or eventually replace something. Is there anything that we're gonna do with this year's, I guess you'd call it surplus, that we would replace immediately? And I can only think of a handful of things. Everything else is large purchases that you'll need to build up that account or build up that purchase amount over a number of years. So, and we still haven't even discussed, because we're still about 2 months away from having a really good idea of what that number is gonna be, and then when Melanie comes up, we can, divvy up into what accounts need to have money allocated to them, and whatever's left over, what we do with equipment, what we do with machinery, and things of that sort. So that's gonna be something we discuss in a month or so, but for right now, Bill, gives he's done, yep, next week.
This Saturday,
28th,
28th.
next Wednesday, it's his last day.
28th is Tuesday.
Or, the last Wednesday of the month. And so I'm going to have to do kind of something for the interim, and we can make it work for a while, but we do need some kind of decision so that we can get a new person hired and trained and brought up to speed with everything.
I just only thought it was fair that I bring those points up to take into account so that people understand too that, if this carries on, this is gonna be a little more of a burden financially to us of what, even though the short term looks like there's justification. A lot of times those are easy to sell, short term, justification, and next thing you know, you're back to the same situation. You're overstaffed, you get more of this, and we're not exactly probably the most popular for it, because we had to raise the bill somewhat this year as far as it goes. Said it would be for kind of sales tax money, it would probably be more that we need to utilize. So, we want, we know we have to stay in compliance with things, don't get me wrong. But it doesn't mean that we, just because it's a department that has certain, requirements, that we shouldn't be a little frugal with our money and stuff too. So that's just my opinion.
And it's not like I'm just gonna go out and create work to justify full-time. We have had our staffing fluctuate. It has gone down, but in the interim, we do need an extra staff, and then, come by the time we can reevaluate it, but.
Well, if you do, I sure would want by next budget to reevaluate, because, because if our trash volume, I mean, here again, we've got we're gonna be dealing with a new, trash hauler.
Mhm.
We don't know what their, what their habits or what their, how they're gonna handle it, so.
At least our trend, we've been seeing significant savings overall,
Oh, yeah.
in that budget, more savings than they've probably seen in the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah,
Or a long time.
I'm not saying that, but that does give you justification, though. I mean, what I'm saying is, it's just because you save it, it's not that expensive.
Well, we're just trying to find, I think by the end of next year, we will have found that settling point where,
Yeah, it may take another year. I mean, the more, and our accountant out there agreed, the more years, the more statistics that you have, the more accurate your projections could be from your side, so anyway, that's all I have to say, and then, we want to visit about the definitely all thing too, as far as,
so I've contacted both sales reps for Devon Law and for Waste Management. I haven't heard anything back from Waste Management. The contact person that I have was from when we did the original, bidding process. I don't know if he still works there or if he's the appropriate person to contact. I'm still trying to get their side of the story, but from what I've heard from the Devon Law sales rep is that all contracts will be honored to the end of the year, and then after that, he can't really, speak to any, because it's no longer, Devon Law. So, I still need to,
So you're saying, what he says is through 2015, you may be renegotiating.
It's pretty common to have a contract that has, if something changes, that you have, you have the flexibility to renegotiate or rebid. If a company gets bought out, I think we have some.
First rider authority to.
I wouldn't think so, but I haven't researched it at all. It seems to me if they're buying the contract, they're buying their assets and liabilities, but,
Because I think our contract is very clear, I mean, we both can get out of it if we want to, but neither can.
You should check that, because I inquired with Trey and City of Ashland, they have exclusively built that into their contracts with any vendor for such a situation to occur. That was the first one they came to me,
if it was sold,
yeah.
Because we've just taken, if we go back to bidding process, you just taken one major, we had two bidders last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we have Waste Management and Devon Law.
For the whole thing now RSP did, I think.
They did.
Did the recycling.
Yes, and they could be one, and I'd also reach out to Hams, so that we would have at least two major, competing.
I know, because I talked to Charlie, said that too, from Hams, and he was a little, wondered why they didn't get put in the last time. I said, well, maybe you know what, I didn't know, but I mean, because that's what I would do when we did that, I wasn't even aware of that.
So they would probably be our next big bidder, and,
But I think, I'm quite sure it'd be pretty competitive, because I know what they charge Brown County, and we're closer to them than Brown, I mean, they have to go a lot further to get Brown County than us.
so, that's the latest. I have no news to report of, really. We do, if need be, we can put something, we can send out bids in a month, because we'll just update the previous RFP, add any new stipulations that we may have, and then, send it out. And the timing of it is kind of, I don't know, difficult to work with in addition to the Martin contract coming up. Do we want to bid that, package that in the same deal, so that one company does all of our hauling? Do we want to break it up like we did last time into municipal solid waste, recycling, and or both? I mean, really, it's been the, solid waste committee's opinion that when we extended the contract for Martin's, that we extend it to the end of the year, and then, try and get, quite a few of our other things handled, because we've made so many changes in this one year, and then, address it and put it out bid for the Effingham station. So,
trash dumpsters, and then you've got hauling off the transfer station, so you could still bid them, you still could bid them all separate, and,
You could, and, there's a number of what ifs, that until we have more knowns, it's kind of up in the air, although we are getting, if we had to make a move by the end of the year, we're kind of cutting it pretty close.
so you're gonna wait till you hear something from Waste Management before we even put out
Well, I think I would need to, and review our contract to see what the language is, and then get in contact with Waste Management and see what if they're gonna honor the contract, if they're going to honor the contract past a certain point, and then you have to rebid, or if they're just completely dismantling it and no longer interested in honoring that contract. 'Cause I think that they would, because they bid on it, but I honestly have no idea how acquiring Decibel is gonna change their business model, so. If they could extend it maybe 6 months, that would help us out a lot. Just give us 6 more months of the same contract, and then, because it's timing for them too. So, as soon as we find something out, then we'll know which direction to go, but for right now, I'm kind of in the dark, waiting to be contacted.
Well, I just say keep pestering until you need to, I mean, if we find out that they don't, or are not gonna honor the same contract with Decibel, we need, that gives you 60 days to make arrangements.
Right.
Which I don't think would be a problem, getting somebody different, stuff, but, I know Hams would be, I know they're sitting there waiting, I mean, they'd be waiting to bid that way, but,
So, yeah, I will continue to pester them and see what we can get figured out, and then, I mean, within a month, I have the Effingham RFP is already packed up, we just decided not to send it out last time, and then we make the updates to the newer contract RFP, so both of them could be ready relatively quickly, it's just when we send them.
recycling and everything, no recycling.
The recycling thing is, again, through Decibel, so the commingled containers are a Decibel contract, and so I don't know if Waste Management offers any kind of commingled, if they do, how do they do it, I mean, at this point, I'm just, day to day, I'm operating off the same contract until I find out something differently, so. And then,
I would agree with Pat. I think this new company would have to honor Decibel's contract.
Depends on the language.
Yeah, I have to review the contract, and I don't know if we gave them out, if it was sold, but I don't know whether the new company would have to, but we still have cost action against Decibel, and they still have, they still have assets, so.
yeah, just keep pestering Waste Management until I can talk to somebody.
Yeah, well, let me review the contract, but I would think if they were going to make some changes, they'd be going to give that notice out to us.
And I thought that was kind of weird that
Rather than-
it's only been about 2 weeks, so I don't know if they've appointed anybody to make contact with any existing contract holder.
It just happened, I know, within the last couple of weeks.
There's a lot, I mean, we're one of the bigger, we're saying it's all the trash, but I mean, they've got a lot of other route people that they're going to have to deal with too. And I know I've heard that Decibel did make some pretty good deals to certain businesses and companies around town to get their business, so I mean, maybe they'll have it out, and they weren't going to do things, so I don't know.
Okay, and then, do I need to, has anything changed with the household hazardous waste, because we are going out to Holton tomorrow?
We're going up there, so Pat, yourself, and myself will be going out.
Brown County will have a representative there, he said, Johnson County's gonna have a couple of representatives.
And I checked the email, the commissioner in Anderson County, sorry.
Okay.
I didn't say which commissioner.
That's from Johnson,
Or not.
yeah, because I don't think the county council is pretty much Brown County.
So,
Because they're actually already
I think it'll be out at the end of this year.
They'll be out at the end of this year, right? He just said that they would come to support us to disband.
Okay. Everybody, I think I've sent both of you interlocal agreement and the budgetary amount that they sent to us,
Yes.
so that everybody has all the information before we head out there, in case it's.
Yeah, you need,
anything
yeah, I'm
disputed.
hoping you, because their, commission chair says that we ain't reading that right, that ain't supposed to be 53 to me, so maybe they can explain it to you better, but even the other facts that you shared with us that are alternative if we went with, what do you call it?
The Big Lake region.
Big Lakes.
And we did our household hazardous waste training last week, and they're ready for us if we can. So, I mean, it's not a big deal to them, other than it's
So what was it, we paid $4,000 one-time fee and then another 15 or 16 or something, but then now it's like 12 or 4, I mean, if I remember right.
it's, let's see if I can pull up that email.
I had that stuff here and I forgot.
Yeah, I was just gonna like that up front, but.
I mean, it's easy, the first year would be about the same as what we're paying, Jackson County, but from then on, we'd be saving quite a bit of money.
Well, when we attended the, commission, yeah, that regional, they'd indicate the same thing, they said, well, we were reading it incorrectly, but they said they still expect us to be right around 25,000 for next year, which is still higher than what we were at, I think, this year.
We're 20, I think.
20 or 22, somewhere in that range, so, is what they told us.
Yeah, we pay a $4,100 one-time investment, and then, $6,400 annual cost, and then depending on how much we use the system or not, that's about $6,000 is what he figured, for a like-sized county of, I think he used Potawatomi as an example, we're kind of like-sized. So it would be about $16,000 the first year, and then $12,500 thereafter for the length of the contract, which is $7,500.
Yeah, they come and pick up.
And now that we've trained, we can actually become like a holding site because we are a standalone permitted facility, so.
And you've got a little more space, I mean, you hold quite a bit, I mean, so it wouldn't be that they have to come. Do they base it on the number of pickups, or they base it on the volume?
They have one pickup specialist, they come and, basically have set collection times for set chemicals, they pick up everybody's, and then they stage it at their facility in Riley County, and then once it gets to a certain size, then they basically send it off, and then everybody gets the bill split up according to population size. So, it's a pretty good deal, because individually, it would be very expensive for us to dispose of stuff, even though, you know, we have certain things available to us, but if we need a decision right now, then obviously we go with one of the biggest, or the biggest household hazardous waste region in the state.
I know I talked with Nathan Everline, and they're regarded as probably one of the best in the state, if not the best in the region.
I've heard that pretty good,
So, yeah, if we can convince the other 4 counties, or however many counties to all attend.
3 out of 4
Majority.
have to agree, yeah, 3 out of 4 will have to agree.
And then,
And I was told by the, Mark Henning, he thought that Jackson County, after they seen that they may even be interested in disbanding theirs, and because it saved them the overhead and stuff, so.
I don't know, have they provided any list of assets? I know that's something that, they haven't said anything.
No, I'm sure.
Question for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I don't know what's ours and what's theirs, so, I mean, we may have to buy a couple 1,000-gallon, used oil containers, but I can't see it being too terribly expensive.
Well, if I read it right, it was somewhat ambiguous as far as if it was all assets tied to the whole thing, or just assets on site.
Well, yeah, I agree it was ambiguous, but the way I read it was that the property that we had here was ours,
Yes.
and then the property that was used everywhere was everybody's.
Okay.
That's how I did it, but, I agree it was ambiguous, so.
Not very well defined.
So, it'll be, hopefully it's not too contentious tomorrow, and expand and move on, but,
Well, I applied to get that grant for that building that the state gave us, I got a call from that Dan Robinson.
Hmm.
He wanted to know what's going on, whether we was gonna be doing our own, and whether we wanted out, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, we're excited, we just got this building, we want to relocate our house will have this waste, blah, blah, blah. So nothing's been, said until now, so.
All right.
On a different subject, last time you visited with us, you were talking about scheduling with the city, did you work out any kind of time frame?
Their target to have everything in is 4:30, and for at least the first couple of months, because it is gonna be during the worst weather of the year as well, so we do need to kind of take that into account. And once they get everything up and running, they're planning to have everything in by 4, so that we don't have to do any changes. If we do, the question then becomes, falls on you as to whether we open it up to the general public, if we're open that other half hour, or do we just kind of keep it open for the city? I mean, there's pros and cons to both. One kind of a little
You
bit
should have
more
plans,
charge.
if it looks like at that 4:30 is in the crowd, there's no reason why you couldn't have somebody come in late and somebody stay out.
And that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Is
Stagger it.
just stagger it. But as far as, and we'll play it by ear. I told them I would prefer to just keep the hours the same, and then as you guys get more efficient, because they're restructuring their pickup schedules as well, so that they're done. And if they have to start earlier, they'll start earlier. But, it's gonna be a fluid situation until they finally come to us after like 2 or 3 months and say, we can't possibly get in before 4:30, and then that's when we'll readdress the hours of operation. So, again, rough idea, but not many knowns right now, so. But that's about 3 months away, so we have a little bit of time. And then I'll just meet the group out there.
Yeah, the Ashland Leadership Group is coming up there, a group from Chamber of Commerce are coming up there at 2:30, so, they're just gonna see what we do for a meeting. We didn't have much of an agenda, and they wanted to, go around and meet electeds and department heads. Yeah, they're coming up here at 2:30, and then Christie Isaacs is leading that group, so, and then we'll go around and tour the courthouse, and then
Tour the transfer.
a tour of Memorial Hall, and then they want to tour of
Can you distinguish?
You're the new kid on the block.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
That wasn't in your job description.
I didn't see that anywhere. That wasn't in the interview process.
Well, it was actually that Chinese scribbling.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that's my fault, Glenn. Apologize.
You guys need anything else from me?
No, just get together with Pat on that, resolution on the recycling, so, the resolution on the recycling rate for 2015, Justin was wanting.
Oh, well. I guess that would be a new, when I told the city that Devonbach had been bought up, then granted, I can't, if we can get back to Ashton in time tomorrow, we can sit in on another talking trash meeting and see if that timeline's been revised, seeing as how
Okay.
some things have changed. Yeah, if they need something to budget on, then,
I think there is a resolution on it, so I think we can,
okay.
time. Okay.
Well, we do and we don't. I don't, if it costs us more to do recycling, then obviously we're taking it elsewhere, so. Okay, so, you want me to just?
But I'm sure there are some other resolutions out there we could borrow from.
Did you want the
All
payroll?
we're doing
Mike?
is,
Do you want that payroll
we
report?
have, just the recycling,
It's downstairs.
municipal solid waste for $35, and the idea is that we amend the recycling down to like a $20 rate. So, I mean, that would essentially be the only thing that would change in the resolution, other than some other things that we talked about, the
the building when we went out there the other day, so. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I think she brought it up with them. I think that's
Yeah,
what we
Pat
did.
has it.
Yeah. That was $1,000.
Well, I think it's actually $3,600, but $2,600 on a different project. But it's a completed project as well, so.
Okay. This we got, a letter from the Little Batchson on the backpack giveaway. So they served 600 students, got backpacks and school supplies. 80 students got free haircuts and everybody got healthy snacks. That was the event we've been in, which was on August 10th. And we had more kids than backpacks. How's it going?
Good.
Got a week to digest already, so.
Yep, we did payroll today. I still got a few things to finish up with Linda this afternoon, but
Okay.
it's all done this morning. That's good.
If we have someone that's owing us back taxes, and we're buying stuff there, and they're giving invoices, can we take that off of what they owe us, or we have to leave it paid?
Which kind of taxes, real estate taxes?
Yes.
No, we can't offset those. I think we can on person.
Okay. Do I need to
No, I would do that this week. No.
Oh, okay.
I went down down Curly Road, I'm not sure what road that is now. Uh,
We discussed this a little bit last Tuesday after Jamie left about, you checking over bills, and I brought up that if we should bring it in front of her right off the get-go. It's not that we don't think you're doing your job, it's just something that's supposed to be looked over by the attorney.
we actually went down and met.
Yeah.
Oh, you talked about
Yeah,
that.
he went
Okay,
there.
that's right.
Yeah.
We haven't come up with a process yet on it, but we are working on it.
Okay. I don't, it should slow the process down any further.
I wouldn't think so.
Hoping not.
Crack the jet, it'll get very good.
Do you get any update on, have you any update on guidance center? And I haven't heard any,
No,
if that's been resolved yet.
it hasn't been resolved. I talked with Travis, some, and, he's actually looking for a different vendor to see if that's possible, just find a different vendor, but, the fallback position is to just deduct the cost of supplying Wi-Fi from our distribution to them. Which, I understood would be acceptable for. I mean, we would bring that $40 just for it, but, the first thought was to try to find a different vendor. Would be willing to do it.
So it all stems just over internet access.
Well, the former, when John Speckles was doing it, there was no problem with, he didn't have internet access, he didn't have a problem doing them. I don't know if that's an excuse or if it's, a good faith reason. But that's been a concern.
Like, that one you just covered up with the one I've been saying to. Not that one, that one right there. This one? No, that, next to that. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
That's the AISB, JSB, that's adult intake and juvenile. Which one's the CMA? Is that correct?
AISB is
Adult intake supervision.
intensive, is it intensive? AISB is juvenile.
AISB was the adult side.
Yeah, and what was the other, CAF, did you say?
CMA.
I don't know what that is. Let me check Shelley.
Your one email we got, that you sent us from Donna, is she saying that everything should come out of her budget, or she's saying it should go to the city, or what was she saying?
She wasn't saying anything. We had asked her for that information. There's a state statute that, is a little ambiguous, but it, allows for a county or a city that has a detention facility to adopt a resolution to impose a booking fee. And then the statute goes on to say that, and that can be up to $45. We adopted one, I believe, resolution is 1228. And the statute goes on to say that, the clerk, well, the clerk is, that the money should be dispersed to, it's KSA 12-16, 119A, allows, shall pay separate court costs if the Board of County Commissioners or by the governing body of the city where a city operates a detention facility votes to adopt such a fee as a booking or processing fee for each complaint. It also says disbursements of these fees shall be to the general fund of the governing body responsible for the funding of the sheriff, police department, or countywide law enforcement agency that obtains the fingerprints. And, Jack could probably explain it to you better. I understand that we do, I think maybe we're doing double fingerprints, but that we do fingerprinting out there. And then also arguably, it's only authorized if there's been a resolution by, the Board of County Commissioners or by, and there has been, or by the governing body of the city where the city operates a detention facility. It is resolution 1228, which was adopted in June of 2003. So that was a question Jack had raised, and so, when he was up here talking, so I got that information from Donna, and I just passed it along. Probably should have put a little better explanation with it, like maybe the statute and resolution.
Well, I recall him saying something about it, I didn't know if it was coming out of her budget or what.
No, they collect it, she only sends one check, but they collect it, when people are sentenced, the court imposes the fee, and then when they pay it, she just holds that amount out and turns it over to the builder back, and she, writes separate checks out. So she wrote down the two checks, she only really sends one, but it's, she also sends the explanation to where it's to go. And that's based on whether or not it's a police department, case or a sheriff's department case.
Should we have discussed Jamie's 16, is there 16 months?
I think technically, I think it's generally minimum like 30 days. I think Mike Keller had said that, you know, I think it's just good to us, we can approve, you know, so that, there's no hard.
60, I've been elected on 60.
Somebody had asked that earlier this year, and so I know we asked the
I just think we need to stick
question.
with the 60 days until we get a new policy or something. And that's what most everybody, I think, is
When is
looking
open enrollment?
It's gonna be late November, I think it's gonna be like a 30-day window, so. more information on that census data? Did they get, the census information?
I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, but, it's definitely something that Jamie would need to be more involved with. And I think I would need to be pretty involved with, so it might be something that would make sense to have a subcommittee that is a commissioner and two of us, just turning through it, section by section.
Is that something we should let our feet get on the ground a little bit more before we do something?
I think so. That was kind of the plan, I thought. But then again, I don't know whether they had that sort of manual like it, policies out there.
You did get a phone call from them, or
I'm pretty sure this includes, I didn't know he
Definitely has access to numbers, I hope so. But he told me this afternoon he thought he would. But he thought, I'm hoping to, because I have to go to speak at one afternoon, so I'm gonna take that stuff down there.
Oh, you're just leaving from?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to go there for another reason as well, but I don't have it already. I don't have it all finished, so I'm gonna have to finish it tonight.
after the night then?
Well, I think maybe before the fifth.
Oh.
So in Jamie's case, if we went 60 days, are we going to 60 days on what we done at the rest of the plan, is that for a week?
But you're waiting for some of these.
So I guess in the first year.
She's got.
He did,
But he has something with his. He's doing this, passing along. Well, there's, we don't have any jurisdiction to do that. Just passing on the act.
well, I mean, this one, I don't think that's the one. That's the same,
Yeah, and it's in Jackson County.
This signed up here.
District court.
That's
Well,
what's up there.
conservation, this is
First, who's talking about?
That's, Hardaway.
There was one, there's one, emphasis aside.
Patty, do you have anything else for us? I did meet with Patty Goldridge over lunch hour for the Veterans Day program. It sounds like she's got some pretty good things lined up. The Memorial Hall project, we've been online a while, is expected to be complete probably by Veterans Day. So, she suggested a flag raising ceremony and, having some speakers, some veterans there. So if you look at your calendars,
We're actually gonna be meeting on the tenth, we'll have to let us know what time the ceremony and stuff is.
it's good, she suggested over noon.
Over there,
She said she's the best time for most people's schedules, so, and so,
12 to 1, probably.
so here in the next couple of weeks, she's going to try and get together, until there come up with ways on how we can notify people. She said that the newspaper's been good about posting stuff like that, at no charge, and, just so we can relay it to people.
Some of those veterans would have wanted to get to this, you know,
This is a ceremony for Braxton County veterans. Yeah, it's on commission. Oh, hold on, let's see what it says. Oh, because we have to be canceled, so we're making that meeting that day, the tenth?
Yeah, I think we decided we could go ahead and have a
Okay.
meeting that afternoon.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
I think we always come up,
That's fine.
5:30.
so just be aware of noon.
It won't take more, it won't take us an hour to canvas those, so,
Should,
okay,
although,
yeah, 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
so then,
so yeah, the next day would be that is actually Veterans Day, so she suggested over lunch hour would be a better day, better time for you to do it.
That sounds good to me.
But a nice flag raising ceremony, and she's got some historical stuff there as well. Just good projects going along. Just people are still purchasing bricks.
CMA is case management.
They keep it separate. They keep it separate, interesting. We think of the case management with ASP and,
I'm not really sure what case management means.
we know how many people total got flu shot?
Case management is for the
Did she go with me?
Who was talking when I was up there and they was gonna get the shingles shot? Was it Tammy or who was it?
I don't know, she asked somebody if they
And I
wanted
thought
a
she had
different
it.
shot besides
Or
the
was
flu.
it Sharon, it was somebody, and they was gonna get the shot. So evidently she had it with her.
Well, I mean, she asked somebody,
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
What
on.
was our questionnaire?
It was on the questionnaire whether you wanted to.
but shingles, pneumonia, I don't,
Tetanus.
there's a whole bunch of them.
At the age you're supposed to, anytime you hit 60, you're supposed to get a shingles.
And she said that she can come up in another week or two if we have people
My
that
wife,
visit.
my wife got them about a year and a half ago, she was in pain for 6 months, and I wouldn't have a shingles shot. She said, yeah, you can get one now. You should have got me one.
But, so 60 is the age on the
That-
one?
They said 55, 50, after 55.
Particularly if you had the chicken pox, you know, and stuff.
My mom, she said she was taking my niece out of hospital because this one got that.
Hmm.
You stay pretty good up there, if you get one.
Just two of us. Megan had to order the flu mist stuff, which isn't covered by, well, it is covered by insurance, but like, they have to be, it has to be covered by, if it's administered at a doctor's office. So, there's two of us. She did say she can come up, I mean, in a couple of weeks if there are people that didn't.
She would go get the arm shot.
Yeah, my arm was a little sore for a day or
Mine
two.
was, my wife's was, but.
My arm was sore up.
Yeah, I wasn't sore for it either.
There's
There was
no
some
one
little kids come in, but I was gonna scream when they give me a shot, just to scare them.
What time did you come, what time did you come?
Go back towards 6.
Oh, okay. Well, glad we had it open until at 6 o'clock.
I was there about 3:20.
Well,
That was the one that-
oh, okay.
Made my wife's day, one of her good friends just started down in Sheila's office. The gal that had Bible study together with, was having girls' night out, so she got to visit her for the. I'd like 10 minutes with Pat, executive session, then we can adjourn.
I'll get that.
Are we, is that group coming up here?
They're supposed to be coming up here.
Mr. Bodenhauser, if that person would have got, okay, I'm on board with you.
Yep.
And that changed the picture.
Yep.
You got the right idea.
I just want to revisit it 6 months later.
Was there a decision on whether they do full-time or part-time?
Well, he really has the discretion unless we ask and stuff.
Okay.
He's already posted, I think, didn't he?
Mhm.
Pretty sure if you take 13.7, then you don't have to do that. $20 an hour.
Yeah, actually, there's a workman's comp software.
Mm-hmm.
We have very many early voters.
Walk-ins, I think we're up to 50.
Pretty good.
We already had probably close to 300 mail-ins.
Wow.
Mail out, that you mail out to people.
Request.
Yeah, the Democratic Party from Kansas mailed out applications.
Okay, now Mom didn't vote in the primaries, she seems to think she can't vote in
Yeah,
general.
she
She
voted.
can't, I told her she could, she said, no, I can't. You asked, I said, Mom, I'm pretty sure you can. No,
Yeah,
I
she
can't, I
voted.
got,
She
I
voted
didn't
in
fill out
the
her- okay, that's what I
you don't
thought.
have to vote for primary. The generals remain.
That's what I told her, and I read for tonight. What's that word you used earlier? I never heard that situated, or what's happening? You used it earlier when you first started talking, and I said, I've never heard that word before.
Maybe he made it up, you know.
Well, that's why I asked you, you said you hadn't heard either. What was the word? What was it? No, that wasn't it. It was $5 word, I know that. Anyway, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I can remember that. Essentially. If you needed, probably, yeah, if you wanted like 5 minutes or something like that,
Well,
they shouldn't come up for too long.
but I bet it was like esoteric.
That was it.
You remember the Esoterica women's face cream?
No?
They advertised a lot. You remember Esoterica? Hardbackers.
I said, no.
Sorry.
I've never heard that word. Have you heard it before?
Don't tell me anymore.
You click through.
I know Bob Campbell has a really big vocabulary too. Marlon is terrific. You know, his transcripts, when you read his transcript, it's just, it just really sounds, look nice, read nice. Mine are half sentences and lots of dashes and stuff.
Jamie's working on the census data. She said she should have it done in a couple of days. In the next couple of days. They needed that before we could do it online, online.
Maybe I would have an executive kind of tell him not to go if they come here.
You said, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, because don't you have to go early today or something?
No.
Oh, I was thinking we were.
He's gonna do the tours.
Oh, okay. I don't, the tour of what, the courthouse?
So that Leadership Academy, I think it's 6-12 months, I'm not, you've probably seen it, ambassadors, that Leadership Academy or whatever they do. It's like 6-12 months, something like that. I think it's generally younger professionals, I mean, not always, but anybody can do it. They basically go around and learn what several different organizations do, so it's been part of the day. Learn more about the community. So, 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes. Move, we have an executive session, attorney-client privilege, 5 minutes, will come out at 3:47.
3 or 2?
Excuse me, 2:47.
Motion is second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who's second that?
Bill.
Okay.
And if I'll briefly talk about wants to come out and see the world's largest face, I'll come out to the school. Show you the world's largest face. And it truly exists. We have a family corporation, making row crops for these cows, and so that keeps me, I'm actually supposed to be on trucking here pretty soon, so as soon as the meeting's over, that's what I'm gonna get to do, so, anyway, but, I serve on about 4 other committees, and 2 in addition, those are the things that we as commissioners, people think you just come here and meet and that's it, but you've got other obligations, other committees that you have to sit in on and participate in, because usually it involves appropriations of money that we've given to other organizations and stuff too, so. Well, I happen to know Christie for a long time, so.
Don't hold that against him. He's good people.
This is Pauline Lee, our county clerk. Pauline, you want to tell them like what you do on a daily basis?
Just pick a day, you know, it's always.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, this week we started advanced voting in the office. Election is November 4th, so.
That's 2 weeks from today, so you guys know that. Anybody showing up to class on the 4th with an I voted sticker might be getting extra special treatment there. Just saying.
cemeteries and fire districts do their budgets, all budgets come to my office. And I set the levy, we sell fishing and hunting license. We do boat permits, if you have a boat, we can register it for you. And, you know, if you buy one day, you can come in and we will give you a permit, so you can go on the water the same day. I can't think of all the stuff we do. I'm secretary to the county commissioner, so Tuesday afternoon, I'm up here.
Pauline, how many people do you have working in your office?
2 full-time and part-time.
We have a total of, we'll be able to meet most if not all of them, they've got 8 elected officials. And actually, that is right, commissioners, clerk, treasurer, Demus, county attorney, and sheriff. So there's 8 total elected officials, so we have a blend of elected and appointed officials.
Jeff, have you shared with everybody who this group is?
Yeah, this is the Atchison Leadership Academy. You call it academy, is it academy or?
Leadership Atchison.
Leadership Atchison Group, so maybe you wanna, have you explained to everybody kind of what you're doing and then maybe.
Sure. I'm Christy Isaac, if we haven't met, I'm the facilitator for Leadership Atchison this year. It's part of the Chamber of Commerce, and they've been doing Leadership Atchison for almost 20 years now. So this isn't anything new, there's kind of a new format that we're doing where we're really taking the class around the community and concentrating on specific things that make up Atchison and Atchison County. So last week was our city day, today is county, next week will be healthcare, so we'll learn more about the will of Atchison next time, it's every 2 weeks. Following that, we'll have education, higher education, economic development, my favorite. I joke with family, the person that finds that fun, but it will be fun that day. Entrepreneurism, tourism, what am I missing? Agriculture, of course. I will find you talk at work that day in March. Industry, yes. And quality of life in general. So, we've got a really good group of people. There's 10 of us all told officially now. We have 10. So, we're really excited about today and learning more about the county. So thank you for having us and telling us everything you know.
Oh, you ain't gonna get it all.
That's right. I've been on long enough now. I'm not gonna get it all.
We're all still learning too.
Yeah. Well, and Mike, how long have you been on the county commission?
3, I filled 1 year of a commissioner who resigned, and then I was elected the same time Bill wants to fill 4 terms.
Okay.
I'm actually in my 3rd year,
3rd year of 4 years.
35.
Wow.
Well, actually, because I filled in 1 year,
That's right.
I'm in the 2nd year of a 4-year term, so.
So you all have 4-year terms, but they're rotating every 2. So Jeff, you're up for election now.
Yeah, and I'm the only elected official this fall, and then in 2 years, everybody else.
Everybody else is there.
Oh, that must be fun.
I'm not sure why they state staggered. I know like the commission they staggered so there'd be continuity, but I guess there must be a reason why they didn't like scatter. I don't know.
When I first came on, you had run it for 2 years. And the law changed to 76, where it went to 4 years. That's all mine.
Do you have any questions for the commissioners?
How many hours do you guys have to be up here? Or days, or how does that work?
Right now we meet, once a week. We meet in the mornings. We have a work session from 10 until noon. And then, we open up, we can take action at 1 o'clock, until whenever business is finished. Sometimes that can be
We've been here till after the courthouse is locked.
5:30, 6 o'clock. That could be, generally we're here until, I'd say 3 to 4.
3 to 4, generally.
On average, and then outside of that, we're all on different committees or boards, so, that's.
You're never truly, excuse me, really well, because you get calls from people, your constituents, asking questions, so you're truly 24/7.
Yeah, so actually, in commission meetings, I would say, we have about 4 to 6 hours, and then on our boards and other committees that we're on, that's, some weeks that can be an additional, 2 hours, some it can be an additional 5 or 6, depending on what week and when each board meets, so. And then budget seasons can take longer.
Thank you.
Any questions?
What current project are you guys working on now?
Seems to be a few going on.
What about the implementation of this software?
Yeah, that's ongoing. Earlier this year, we made a major transition on our software system, so it's not just a financial piece. That's a big portion of it, but, we started that in April this year, and that's been ongoing. Because we have many different facets of our government, they're rolling it out in stages, so, sometimes it can be one or two departments, each month that can be rolling over into this new, software system. So it's like not just a server, but it's an entire financial software management system. That's been a pretty big change. There's a lot of education ongoing that we're going. So we've got a lot of IT projects. We just completed a new phone system it's a VoIP system, which for a lot of different outlying offices, that's kind of a logistical challenge. Other than that, we've got a high-risk road safety grant project going on 262nd Road. We have a couple bridges to be replaced here yet this fall.
Memorial Hall.
Hmm?
Memorial Hall.
Yeah, Memorial Hall. Maybe it's in Memorial Hall.
Front portion's getting renovated a bit, flag poles.
We're to work right now. We're not in the middle of it, and we're working with City of Ashton as they get their new recycling, their curbside recycling program going. So we're kind of behind the scenes.
How much crossover do you see between the county and the cities? I mean all the cities, Effingham and such. Are there ongoing projects all the time? that
Yeah,
cross
I think
over?
we're in pretty much contact with everybody. I mean, we all
It
try to
varies
work
from
together.
year to year,
Yeah. So we're always, we generally start doing countywide summits where we would invite all the cities, and I don't know if that has been done in quite a while, but it seems like it's received really well. We try and do it, especially before legislative session starts for the state, so we'll probably be meeting here, hopefully you're going into the end of the year or so.
Well, yeah, probably, one of the biggest projects we're gonna be looking at possibly is implementing a new, radio system for the county joint communications. I think we're looking at $1.5 million project, and so to update on rural fire districts, ambulance, the city of Ashton, the police, the fire, and the sheriff, and, so we haven't got the final numbers on that. It'll probably be next year before we start getting it implemented, but, that's probably our biggest project right now, so.
And that's truly countywide, that's a lot of entities, a lot of taxing entities that you've got rural township fire department, EMS, law enforcement, fire department, schools, I think schools will be somewhat involved, but
Not directly in there.
City has their projects, and the county has theirs. The size of our community, I feel, is important that we all work together. We're not, we gotta be a team. And I think we are.
all county residents.
I have a question, but I'm not sure if Billy covered it. Is there a way, okay, so Jeff, you're up for reelection, against Charlie Purdue. Is there a way, and you said you're on other boards, so I'm sure you're explaining to people why they should vote for you, just in your day-to-day life, but is there a time, I mean, how does it not turn into a popularity contest, I guess?
Sure.
Without knowing, like, what exactly you bring to the county commission, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just don't understand that. I follow people on Facebook and they're like, give me a sign for this person, but it's like, how do you differ? But you know what, I guess I just don't understand being not on those boards and different things, like, because obviously presidential debates, and they tell you what they want to do for the community, but as your county commissioner, are you guys doing that as well? I mean, I guess I just, sorry, I hope I voiced it right.
I'll speak for me, personally, I keep those two items separate.
Okay.
I think that, then you're getting into a cycle of just, that whole popularity side as far as, like, you're always constantly campaigning for yourself. So when if I'm a representative of Atchison County Commission at these boards, and I don't know if you've been on chamber board, I don't know if you go to the chamber board meetings as much, well, anyway, there's not a whole lot of time, really. I just think we need to cross that line. I think it gets into a gray ethical question, as far as doing that stuff. I mean, that's just me personally, and I'm sure you guys do probably the same thing where we don't.
Okay, sorry, I don't think I was right. Is there a time where you talk to explain what you bring to the county commission?
Like a few years ago, there was an actual debate, I know.
Or like, how do you
Correct.
differentiate, like, okay, what
Correct.
does Jeff Shealy do that,
Okay,
you know what
now
I
I know
mean?
what you're saying,
Sorry,
okay.
that's what I was,
Okay, so, yeah, there's usually, Ashton Globe typically does like a questionnaire right before the election. I haven't
Okay.
received any information from the Globe. He's new. I've received information. There's usually a couple of, candidate forums
okay.
that typically occur. Care Radio is doing one here, this week actually, so it should air in the next
The
few
chamber
weeks.
has one.
Okay, so those would be the things to educate you on what each person, okay, awesome, because I wasn't sure how that worked.
So, is it correct that the three sitting members right now, first, second, and third district, you guys are all elected? And then city council, you're,
The pleasure of the board.
okay. So what was it, I mean, to be elected, that's obviously gonna take a lot of work on the side. I know all of you guys on like, you have your side occupation as well, working on the farm and whatnot. So there's something at some point that I wanted, you know, that spirit something inside you to be motivated enough to take on even more work. And it sounds like even in this position, you probably do more work than you get paid to do. So what was it about the county that kind of first attracted you guys to want to run and to be a, you know, a seated member here?
In my case, I'm just about to the point where I'm retired from the farm, and the community's been good to me, life's been good to me, and I just want to get a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way, they're all about the same age, but reached a point where, you know, we're starting to slow down a little bit in my involvement per se in the operation, but I've always been involved in the community from school board, church board, and that, and it's just, to me, a way of giving back. You know, when you're talking about running, you mean running from the job or running for the job. Now, I will guarantee you, there are days that you want to run from this job.
Sure.
My grandfather always told me, if you're wanting to complain about something, be willing to make that thing better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, I'm not close to retiring, so, I have to work a daily basis. I think for me, they got, probably being the most motivated was, prior to running, the relationship between the city of Ashton and Ashton County was not very good, and they were communicating through the newspaper, and to me, it was just absurd that people can't work together, and, you know, we're a population of under 17,000, so, you know, that kind of got me motivated to do something about it. You know, I wish that people have time constraints, all of you have busy jobs. You know, it's nice to see people get engaged and doing something. That was probably the catalyst for me, was just, you know, standing up and doing something about it, so. I think we've improved drastically in that standpoint.
Or communicating with so much better, joint projects that we've been working on, so.
Are the boards you sit on, boards you choose to sit on? Like, do you get to pick which ones you want to do, or is it?
Kind of, we all sit up here and agree. I mean, 2 or 3 of the boards I sit on are a lot closer down the way. I mean, I go to Hiawatha, Colton, places like that, so it makes more sense where I'm at to serve on those boards. And Jeff being local chamber, I mean, it saves me driving, 25 miles. I'm also on the project concern board too, because we have a satellite station in Effingham, so.
So the boards we sit on are representatives of the county, some are just as citizens. You know, a lot of times there's boards, for me, like Little of Ashton is not a board appointed position, but the second Monday of every year in January, it's called reorganization meeting, and so that's where we vote to who goes on which boards. So there's certain boards like Multi-County Health Board, now Northeast Kansas Environmental Services, Chamber of Commerce. I mean, I'm trying to think of what else we got. Northeast Kansas Area and Aging, NECAP. express concern. I mean, there's several entities that we all just kind of vote amongst ourselves, which we choose.
The longer you're on here, you get better. So when you're a newbie, you kinda, I like
So, can you just kind of walk me through the process of, so the different projects we have going on right now, kind of from its birth, I guess, of kind of, here's an idea of what we want to do, kind of through then the actual execution, of whatever that, specific project is.
Like, do you, at the beginning of the year, do you start goal setting, or how do you determine what you want your commission to?
Yeah, that's a good question, like doing some like more longer term planning. I would say generally, typically budget season,
You gotta be thinking then what you wanna accomplish in next year, and then next year when you do your budgets. I think example of what this gentleman asked, we just implemented a new road and bridge plan where we had all the bridges, we had them examined, so we know what kind of shape they're in, so we can budget, because we can't do them all at once.
Yeah.
So we can budget as we go into. Yeah, that's one of the projects we got ongoing, is, I think it's important. There's several.
So with using that, example, so I guess how does that even come to, the floor of bridges need to be inspected and possibly repaired? Is that something that?
It's mandated,
Your fracture, what you call fracture critical bridges is mandated. I mean, several years ago, when that bridge collapsed in Minneapolis,
Mm-hmm.
the feds really come down hard, and they sent a lot of money to the states and the state fund and stuff. So now, we're required by the end of the year to do inspections on the fracture critical bridges, and that gets pretty expensive each year. And that's one of them, if one member fails, the whole bridge fails, so they're pretty important, and so we have to inspect, we're gonna be on a yearly inspection basis on that, and monitor them. I mean, if it's something that looks like it's gonna be critical, you either close the bridge or else you don't have to, hopefully you got some money appropriated where you could fix it. We've had a couple bridges just go down on us that we weren't figuring out.
Surprised.
So sometimes you have to wait a year before you can fund it. So, and we've got 200 total, 200 and some, I think it is, but, total bridges. Now, some of them aren't that big of bridges, but with bigger equipment out, there's going to be probably bridge failures that we want to really talk about.
Yeah, it's a tough question to answer because counties are basically an extension of the state. So we do a lot of services that the state cannot provide. We're kind of that intermediary. So property taxes, tags, registration, licenses. We do a lot of those services as an extension of the state. Now, some services we have to provide. They're called state mandates. So a state mandate would be I'll pick on ambulance service. So we provide ambulance service for Gratiot County. The true state statute says we have to provide services for indigent people that cannot afford themselves. Well, maybe it's been the EMS world long enough. I mean, there's been a transition or change, as you've seen hospitals or other organizations getting out of those types of services, volunteer services. So, and what we see a trend is that federal and state funding has kind of slowed down or trickled down to where we're picking up a lot more of the slack. And usually what that means, unfortunately, sometimes is increase in taxes, or we have to drop a service that we're not mandated by the state. So we're basically a big extension of the state of Kansas, just at the local level. So as far as answering your question, as far as how do you get a project to start, some of it, depending on if the state says that you have to do this, then they start the process to us. A lot of times we have department heads or elected officials that if they have a project or something that needs to be done or addressed, or if we're working with City of Ashland Joint Communication System, the department heads will bring the idea generally to commission, and that can take anywhere from, a month to several months to, a year or two, depending on how the size and scope of the project. So, So, it's a lot of different people, a lot of different ways that projects get to us, and then we have to plan funding. Our budget cycle is January 1 to December 31st every year, which is opposite of the state of Kansas, you know, whatever state statute they put in place. The state is July 1 to June 30th, so I'm not exactly sure why you'd want to be off the state budget cycle like that, but that's kind of cards were dealt long before our times.
So you get some mandated by the state, I'm sure you might need some federal. Is there an opportunity for just county residents to come and have like an open session where they bring kind of their concerns or needs to the table and you guys?
Every Tuesday, we want to,
Yeah.
and we want to take executive session, ask them to.
And we all got email, me, and it's posted on the web, I mean, they can send emails, phone numbers there, they can, you know, anything like that, so.
Yes, our meetings are being recorded right now, so you can go to our website and access any meeting that you want, and then we archive them on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, so we started that 2-3 years ago, actually.
Cool. You guys work with the townships too.
What's that?
You guys work with the townships too.
Correct.
Do you have any people show up on Tuesday?
Occasionally, it seems like, yeah, if there's something usually controversial or something that people want to speak up about. Seems like in the last couple of years, seems like trash and roads and bridges seem like be the 3 big topics that get people motivated, you know. In some meetings, if we're doing like publication, some meetings, if we, like budget hearings, we have to publicize those at least 10 days in advance prior to having that meeting, so sometimes you'll have people come up and ask questions or comment on them. Kind of hard sometimes for people to get away from work from 1 to 5. So that's why a lot of times, when stuff recorded, they can actually see it.
We did meet when I first got on, we'd meet 2 days a week in the afternoon, and you'd think you'd get more done in 2 afternoons than you do. And we decided to go to the workshop and the open meeting, and we got a lot more accomplished.
Yeah, not a whole lot transacts between a Monday and a Wednesday. I think they used to be 3 days a week. That's been quite a few years back.
Well, and the reason we kind of chose Tuesdays too, is because a lot of times, you know, have holidays on Mondays, so we've been off anyway, so why not just have it on Tuesday? So most of the other counties around us meet on Monday, so we want to get off, so I think we'll on Tuesday.
We're gonna take a tour of courthouse, and then we have, some stuff lined up. We have, a tour of Memorial Hall.
Awesome.
Patty Bellers will do that tour for us. And we have one of our projects that's going on right there. That's a building that Washington County owns. And then we'll, take a tour of the transfer station, everybody can go pick up trash for now.
Maybe a drive-by tour.
Yeah. So, we'll wrap our arms.
All right, we're ready.
Okay.
Oh, wait, do we need to get their names so we can have it tonight, or do you have it?
No, we don't have it. We don't have it.
Give me some time to sign in, please.
Entertained motion to adjourn?
Absolutely.
Yeah, motion is second. Motion by Bill, second by Mike. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyway.
Oh, you got one?
Well, and
Is that the whole thing?
No, yes, it is.
This is gonna be on.
Oh, you go.
I'm the trouble.
I hadn't heard anything, that's why you
Hey,
heard
hey,
like yesterday.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying the hot now?
Yeah.
Have you took a deep breath, is that, oh, I guess it's worth it.
Yeah.
So it has a
wedding
or coming in?
No,
Oh,
I know, now we're doing our budget, like right here, like, okay, this year we're gonna have 2 trees, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, what's next?
Somebody said, you get tired of sticking. I don't know.